Hello and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Erin Darling, and we're bringing you all the latest movie news with insight into what it all means. Joining us today, as always, is AMC Editor-in-Chief John Campea.
Good morning, Erin. Greetings and salutations, everybody. Breaking news. I have just been offered $75 million by Warner Brothers to be the next Batman. You heard it here first. I'm contemplating the offer.
That's pretty exciting. Congratulations.
Yeah, big stuff.
Also joining us today is the one and only Dennis Zen.
Hi, guys. Good to see you. I'm glad to see John. We're back in studio again.
Back in the Bat Cave, as it were. Get it? I said Bat Cave. That means the rumor is true.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's jump right in. So, as most of you guys know, Vin Diesel got everyone talking when he posted a picture of Guardians of the Galaxy character Groot on his Facebook page, fueling speculation that he will be joining the cast as the voice of the giant tree-like monster in the upcoming Marvel film. In a recent interview with the LA Times, Diesel said the following: "I'm an actor. Not everything has to be the most obvious choice, and sometimes the best thing you can do, as far as Steven Spielberg and his advice, is to defy expectations. So if everyone thinks you're going to go for this one thing and you flip it entirely and go for the strangest Marvel character, it's interesting. And when something is interesting, it's inspiring." So, John, what do you think of Diesel's comments, and do you think we'll be seeing him voice Groot in the upcoming movie?
I have come to believe that Vin Diesel may be the single greatest genius in Hollywood today. Now, think about this. This guy, with nothing going on, I mean, he recently, not so, actually, it's a little while ago now, the last Fast and Furious movies come out. But it's been a while, so he's got nothing going on. But he has found a way to keep us consistently talking about Vin Diesel. This guy is a genius. He's an absolute genius. Now, will he be Groot? Here's the thing we got to keep in mind. Remember, a number of months ago, he got everybody talking because he put up a picture of Vision, the Marvel character Vision, as his Facebook profile picture, which got all of us, me included, starts like, hey, he's probably going to be Vision. And then he had the meetings with Marvel, so we know he's going to be in a Marvel movie. Now he puts up a picture of Groot. It's important to keep in mind here. In this interview, he never confirmed he was Groot. No one has said officially that he's going to be Groot. We're all just running on this thing, understandably so, when the dude who we know is going to be in an upcoming Marvel movie puts up a picture of Groot, gets everybody talking. So it's possible, but we got to keep in mind this isn't confirmed. And also keep this in mind. He has put up other pictures of other Marvel characters before, and we don't know. So I don't know that he's going to be Groot. And for one big reason, aside from the fact that I still kind of think he's going to be Vision. I got nothing to back that up with, just saying that's my thoughts. But the other thing is this: why bother getting Vin Diesel to play Groot when one of the key essential elements of that Groot character, the thing that makes him so funny, is that everything he says in his language comes out as, "I am Groot." That is one of the funniest, best things about Groot, is that everything he says is just, "I am Groot." He's in the middle of a fight, I am Groot. He's in the middle of foreplay, I am Groot. It doesn't matter. Whatever he's doing is, I am Groot, and I think that is so cool. But that raises the question, why would you need a Vin Diesel to do that? The only options are, you don't need Vin Diesel to do that, or James Gunn, in his wisdom, is going to get away from that part of Groot and actually have Groot have dialogue, and I hope he doesn't, because that's one of my favorite things about Groot when I read him in the comic book. So I love this interview. I think he says some really cool things. I think Vin Diesel is a giant genius to keep us talking about Vin Diesel like we're doing right now. But I don't think he's going to be Groot.
What about Thanos?
I also don't think he's going to be Thanos. I don't think they're going to use him in a role like that. But as far as this Groot issue goes, I have a feeling he's not going to be it, and he's just keeping us talking because of the mad genius that you are, Diesel. I'm on to you now. I'm on to you. You're actually a genius. Dennis, how do you see this whole thing?
Yeah, I think he's played the fans masterfully.
Like a violin.
Yes. Well, I think because he threw out the Vision thing, and remember there was a picture of him, and there was, like, I think Giant Man in the background.
Yep.
And then now with Groot, now I feel like he's not any of those things. What if, like, they end up, like, casting him as the voice of Rocket Raccoon?
I've heard people speculate
that. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. So, I don't know. I'm kind of glad they were playing. This is kind of like more the fun speculation game, you know?
Yes.
Where it's not like these massive rumors. It's based on something kind of real and tangible, and we know that he's going to be cast as something. We just don't know what. And so I think this is a lot more fun.
See, the Rocket Raccoon thing makes a lot more sense because we know Rocket Raccoon is going to have a lot of dialogue. He's got to have a very distinct personality. I love the footage of Rocket Raccoon, as short as it was, that we saw from that Guardians of the Galaxy footage. That, to me, looked just stellar. Looked awesome. But, I mean, let's take that Vin Diesel thing one step further, if we're just playing the speculation game. I mean, what if he's not going to be the voice of anything? What if he's the new Iron Man? What if he is the new post-Avengers 3 Iron Man or something? What if he's going to come like completely out of left field as something completely different, a live-action character? Because we've really been limiting our speculations to either a fully make-upped character or a CG character that he's just going to be voicing and all this kind of stuff. What if it's actually like a big, major live-action character? I mean, that could be cool too. But somehow, some way, I think Vin Diesel's going to keep us running in circles and thinking about this. I'm telling you, you're the smartest guy alive now, and I'm on to you.
I think what you're proposing makes more sense because it'd be kind of a waste of his star power and popularity.
To just say, I am Groot.
Yeah, to make him voice a tree-like alien creature, although that would be cool.
It would be cool.
These days, it's quite common for studios to put out viral marketing campaigns for upcoming movies with clips, trailers, or maybe even some fake captured footage. But it looks like the powers behind Anchorman 2 are taking this to a whole new level. It's been reported that Ron Burgundy, yes, the fictional character played by Will Ferrell, is going to be releasing his autobiography called Let Me Off at the Top, My Classy Life and Other Musings. Interesting. It's been said that the book, a tie-in to the much-anticipated film, will allow Burgundy to share personal anecdotes about the women in his life, about his dog Baxter, and his legendary news team. Along the way, he'll also give sage advice on a variety of topics that matter most to him. So, John, are you going to be reading this book? Is it a bestseller?
I am officially more looking forward to the book than I am to the movie. And everybody knows how much I'm looking forward to this movie. I think the Ron Burgundy character, Anchorman, is, I think it's one of the best comedies of all time. Certainly in the top 20, probably in my top 10 favorite comedies of all time. That movie just makes me laugh myself sick every time I watch it. And this character, and the reason I think this book thing is such a brilliant idea, number one, is because this is something Ron Burgundy would do. Ron Burgundy would put out this book, and he would title it like this. And the second thing is this. A lot of the Ron Burgundy dialogue that is so funny and so hilarious, I've always thought, as great as it comes across on screen, would be even funnier in a script, would be even funnier on a printed page. And for that reason, I am finding myself counting down the days to when this book is going to come out, because I'm going to buy it the first day it comes out on my Kindle app, and I'm going to read it immediately. I think this is brilliant. And you're right. This is taking this viral marketing thing, this pre-marketing, to a whole different level. This is exploring territory. Like, we've seen prequel comics. Star Trek has put out prequel comics. The latest Man of Steel film put out a prequel one-shot comic. But to take the fictional character to put out a fake autobiography in book form, I think this is genius, and I think it's going to be really entertaining to read. So, Dennis, how are you looking forward to this book?
Yeah, I am. I think it can be funny. I hope Will Ferrell has like something to do with it, like has, some input into what the character would say in the book and whatnot. I'm sure he doesn't have time to write the whole thing himself, but just to have that kind of creative input into what would be funny, and hopefully there's lots of pictures and diagrams, whatever crazy stuff that he wants to talk about, and hopefully it's not super, super long either. I think a nice short funny book would be great. So I think it's a great way to get people hyped up for the movie. Like, release it a week or two before the movie comes out.
I think it's about a month it's going to come out.
So yeah, give time to people to read it. I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
How likely do you guys think it is that the cover is going to be a naked Ron Burgundy on a bearskin rug?
I'd say there's a good 20% chance. I would give that a good, a solid, legitimate 20% chance of that. I think if they were watching this now, if they didn't have the idea already, they probably have it in their heads now.
All right, you guys can take it. Just give me credit. Just a special thank you.
All right, folks, so we've reached that part of the show for buy and sell. Here's how this part works. In front of her, Erin's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and Dennis and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Erin, what do we have?
All right, well, District 9 and Elysium director Neil Blomkamp is set to start shooting his next film, Chappie, this fall. Chappie tells the story of a robot imbued with artificial intelligence who is stolen by two local gangsters who want to use him for their own nefarious purposes. The film will star Sharlto Copley as the voice of Chappie, with Ninja and Yolandi Visser, who are the voices of the South African Zef counterculture movement and members of rap rave duo D Antwoord, as the two gangsters. So, Dennis, buy or sell this?
I buy it. I mean, even though I didn't love Elysium, I still liked it, and I'm always looking forward to what Neil Blomkamp is going to do next. And I remember seeing the original short film that this is based off of a long time ago, before Neil Blomkamp even did District 9, and I really liked it. And I heard this one is supposed to have like more of a comedic take to it, so I want to see what Blomkamp can do on the comedy side. I mean, I know it's not going to be completely like a hilarious comedy, but hopefully it has something a little bit different than what District 9 and Elysium is.
Yeah, I think I was a little disappointed with Elysium, but there's still a lot of things in there to really like. And one of the things to really like about that film is what Blomkamp gets out of Sharlto Copley. That is a great on-screen dynamic, the director and actor thing, because obviously we saw what they did in District 9. I think Sharlto is the best thing about Elysium.
I agree.
That character, I loved it because he was terrifying yet funny. And I go into a little bit later. Actually, we're going to share a conversation I had with Sharlto here in a bit. But that is the best part about it. And to see that these two guys are working again together, mark me up as excited. For me, it's a buy.
I'm actually really excited for this one.
Yeah.
I'd buy it too. I think it's going to be great. South African Zef counterculture movement. I couldn't even say that.
But here's the thing, though. What is with Blomkamp and his obsession with wanting to put rappers in his movie? Like, we heard he wanted Eminem to play the lead role in Elysium. And even before Eminem, he went to another rapper. I can't remember which it was. And now he's going to put a couple of rappers in this one. What is his... Neil, keep getting guys like Sharlto. Get real actors for your movies. Your movies will turn out much better.
All right, next up. So it looks like Warrior in Zero Dark 30 star Joel Edgerton may be in line to play the part of the Egyptian pharaoh Ramses in Ridley Scott's upcoming biblical tale Exodus. The Hollywood Reporter is claiming that the Great Gatsby star would appear opposite Christian Bale in the leading role of Moses. So, John, buy or sell him in Exodus?
Got to buy this on several levels. Number one, I think Joel Edgerton is a really underappreciated talent in this business. The movie Warrior overall was vastly underappreciated. That was a great movie, and Edgerton was great in it. But I will always think of Joel Edgerton as the young Uncle Owen in the Star Wars prequel. A lot of people forget that that's him. But also, I'm a sucker for these big, epic-style biblical films. I love Ten Commandments. I love Ben-Hur. I love those movies. And seeing a guy like Ridley Scott take a stab at something like this, I think this is gold. I'm really looking forward to it. For me, it's a buy. Dennis?
Yeah, definitely big buy for me. I love Joel Edgerton, too. I think the first thing I saw him in was Animal Kingdom.
Oh, right.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, he was awesome in Warrior, and he's going to star opposite Christian Bale. That's going to be awesome with Ridley Scott directing. So yeah, I'm definitely buying this.
It's been a while since we've seen a movie like that, too.
Yeah, it has been a while. This is very original for today's context.
The first official images for the upcoming film Vampire Academy have just hit the web. The film is based on the popular book series and will be directed by Mean Girls helmer Mark Waters and follows Rose Hathaway as these are some crazy words here, Dampier. Half-human/vampire, guardians of the Moroi, peaceful mortal vampires living discreetly within our world. Her legacy is to protect the Moroi from bloodthirsty immortal vampires, the Strigoi. So, Dennis, I apologize if I butchered any of those pronunciations. Dennis, buy or sell the images from Vampire Academy?
I have to sell these. Mark Waters, he directed Mean Girls, which I thought was a really funny movie. This movie, just from the pictures and the description, it looks like a CW show. It just looks like something that's coming out like this fall. Something I'm just not interested in at all.
That's a great analogy, actually. I never you put it perfectly. It looks like something, it sounds like something from a CW show. Not that there aren't quality CW shows, there are, but a motion picture, this does not necessarily sound like. Look, I'm so sick and tired of vampires. I'm so sick and tired of these teenage beautiful vampires. Like, if you're gonna make a vampire movie, give me a damn vampire movie. Not this. I'm so sick of this new stuff. And look, obviously, let me give this little disclaimer. This is obviously not a film that is being made for people like Dennis and me. obviously I'm not the target audience. So, there may be appeal to this. And who knows? Like we said with any movie, as bad as something may look way in advance, it could end up being great. Because we've seen it when movies look great way in advance and they end up crappy. So maybe this movie will be brilliant. But our impressions right now is I look at this and for me it's got to be a sell. Well, listen, folks, before we get on to the mailbag segment of the show, right now playing in AMC theaters, this movie a lot of people like, Dennis and I just talked about it as well, is the new Neil Blomkamp movie, Elysium, playing right now in AMC theaters. You can go get your ticket information over at www.amc theaters right now. But right now, recently I had an opportunity to sit down with the cast and the crew of the film, and I just want to share with you a few minutes of my conversation with one of the stars of the film, the aforementioned Mr. Charlton Copley. Take a look at this. What is it about this, the behind the camera chemistry, in front of the camera chemistry that you and Neil have that just seems to work so well when you guys bring a project to the screen?
I think several things. I mean, it's a long question to answer, but in its sort of the most important part, I think, is we both have, what I've learned since I've been in Hollywood, is we both have a very kind of artistic commercial sensibility. And what I mean by that is the stuff that we think is kind of artistic and cool happens to be more popcorny and commercial. And popcorn, I like as an actor to play characters that you'd want action figures of. I'm not as interested, although I feel I can do them. I could go and do a very heavy, serious, dramatic role in a very serious, dramatic film. That's very arty and tries to win awards or whatever. It doesn't really excite me in the same way. I feel like I'm being more artistic when I do characters that are a little bit caricaturish and a little bit sort of larger than life and entertaining. And I think Neil does the same with his films. So there's like an intensity that the films have, which is they sort of start, somebody said, in the red and then just keep going, that kind of, the fact that we both have that and we both have very similar taste in a lot of different areas of film, from music to editing styles to creative visual styles, to what we like in different actors, things like that, it helps.
It's funny, when we look at the larger films you've done, whether it's A-Team or District 9, we as audience members are just so used to liking you and your character so instantly, feeling empathy for the character and attaching ourselves. What's the challenge for you now coming into a role like this, where now it's a whole different set of emotions you're trying to get from the audience, from liking me and associating with me to being afraid of me? How was that for you?
That was the most challenging part. I mean, when people were saying, would I be worried about being typecast as a villain because I did another villain after this, and I said no, because it just is. It's the biggest challenge for me to see. I naturally can play the other side much easier. I would have associated my acting style with somebody like Robin Williams, who likes to do different characters, or a Jim Carrey, or those types of Eddie Murphy back in the day. So if I can get people to take me seriously as a villain and sort of be intimidating in a real way, that was kind of the real challenge. There was actually a lot more humor with Kruger, because we always wanted a dark sort of sadistic humor, but then if he becomes too likable, then it's sort of, it's difficult for Matt. Don't tell him that, though. I mean, he is next door. But I want to make characters that people like, and it's very difficult. Like that's not the function of a villain. So it's a very fine line that you have to walk, unless you're in a Batman film, which is, they sort of really have the villains are sort of really juicy for a reason. But most of the time, you've got to sort of hate the villain,
Well, you made Kruger somebody we were afraid of, but also you made us giggle and feel extremely creeped out at the same time. It was an incredible job. Congratulations on the film. We cannot wait to have it on AMC screens. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So once again, head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater showtime movie ticket information for Elysium in theaters right now. Well, we've reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you would like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, once again, let me give this disclaimer. We get over 1,000 mailbag emails from you guys every week. We have time, including AMC Mailbag, to answer maybe 30 to 40 of them. So please don't be upset if we don't get around to your question. But trust me, we read just about all of them that come in. Only have time to answer a few, but send them on in. In front of her right now, Erin's got a few messages from the mailbag pulled out. So Erin, what's up first?
First of all, we have Jordan Machio, who writes, "Hey John, my fellow Canadian.
Hey.
An article was recently published saying that Hugh Jackman was offered $100 million for 4 more films as the Wolverine. What are your thoughts on this, and what do you think those movies are?"
Yeah, I started reading this all around too. Now, for those of you who saw MC Movie Talk yesterday, I went on a bit of a rant about that whole rumor that was going around about Christian Bale being offered $15 million to play Batman again, and what garbage that rumor was, and how it wasn't based on fact, and it was just a myth. Okay, so a lot of sites are running with this story Hugh Jackman offered $100 million for 4 more films. And I've gotten a lot of email from people saying, John, what do you think? Did you hear? Hugh Jackman has been offered $100 million to be... Okay, so when you actually look into this story, here's where the story actually comes from. An unnamed source told... Aaron, let's play a game.
Okay, let's do it.
If I were to say, not just movie blog, anything, what would be the most unreliable news source you can possibly think of that you could get a story from? You may not say the one I'm thinking of, but you might.
An actual source?
No, like anything, out of any sources out there that you can buy in on a newspaper stand or online or on TV, what would you think would be the most unreliable thing you could get?
Oh, man. Tabloid?
The National Enquirer.
Oh, my gosh. Really?
This Hugh Jackman story comes from, when you follow it up, it comes from an unnamed source tells the National Enquirer that Hugh Jackman has been offered $100 million. That is a joke. I mean, seriously? And there are sites running with this, that this is a news story. When did it happen that we start running with news stories that are sourced from the National Enquirer? That's what this is. I'm not making this up, folks. That's where this story came from. An unnamed source to the National Enquirer. And we got movie sites running with this. So, what would I think about something like this? Well, it's not even worth talking about what I would think about this because this isn't true. This is obviously not true. This is not fact. Hugh Jackman was not offered $100 million to be in 4 more Wolverine films. That doesn't mean that the Fox and Hugh Jackman aren't actually talking about him and his future as Wolverine. I'm sure that they are. But I'm sure that this story is completely fake. Dennis?
Yeah. I mean, pretty soon then we're going to believe like Bigfoot is going to be start walking around the streets, and
I saw Jesus in my watermelon.
Yeah, aliens, UFOs coming down, and it's getting crazy, man. Like the kind of stuff that people are willing to not only like put out there, but then just believe. Because I also got messages as well, and even in our own comment sections, people were like, "Did you hear Wolverine? Like Hugh Jackman got offered $100 million," and they take it as fact. It's crazy.
No, he did not.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
Yeah. Oh, what's next?
Austin Smith writes, "Hey guys, love the show. Watch it every day. While I enjoyed the first Rob Zombie Halloween, the second one was dreadful. Also, the Friday 13th remake and Nightmare on Elm Street remakes weren't great. But getting to my question, why doesn't James Wan get his name attached to one of these huge horror franchises? I love his originals such as Insidious and The Conjuring. He is a great horror director, and I would love to see his portrayal of a horror icon after he finishes Fast 7. Can't wait." So what do you guys think?
Well, also, you raise a really interesting question, actually. You got a guy like James Wan right now who's doing such a great job with modern horror. And there's not a lot of people out there doing great jobs with modern horror right now. And Wan is one of them. But I think you kind of answered your own question in the question. You say, he's doing a lot of his own original stuff right now. Why not go back and do one of the... Well, because he's doing original stuff. And when you're talking about stuff like Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, now, unfortunately, because of some of the bad remakes, there's a bit of a stigma attached to those titles and attached to those properties that probably a guy like James Wan doesn't want to come close to or come near to, because really, there's no winning. If you're a director like James Wan, there's no win situation in doing, say, the next Nightmare on Elm Street film. Because if you do it, it's good because it's Nightmare on Elm Street. But if you fail, you suck. You ruin Nightmare on Elm Street. There's not a lot of upside here. Wan is doing some great, creative, original films. Now, that's not to say we shouldn't have more Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street are movie institutions. They should continue. Even if they're bad and even if they're ridiculous, we should continue to make Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. But I just don't see a guy like James Wan ever be interested in doing something like that because of the aforementioned pre-existing expectations, the stigma that's attached to them somehow. Just not a lot of upside for a guy like him. Dennis?
Yeah, I have to preface this. I'm not a huge horror fan, so I take everything I say with a grain of salt. I wasn't a fan of Zombie's first Halloween remake. I didn't see the second one. And James Wan is from people who really love horror have told me that he's very creative and he does his own original things. As someone who also is interested in doing their own things, I think it's better. It's that's kind of the dream, is to do your own original thing. So if someone's paying for him to work on his own original movies, why not do that instead of the pressure that comes with a franchise like Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah, and once Fast and Furious 7 makes 800 million worldwide, he's only going to have more opportunity to make the films that he wants to make in his original stuff. So it's
I think he's on his way out of horror, to be honest. He said that he wants to explore other genres.
He has said that, actually. That's a really good point.
Yeah, so I think he might be willing to go out and do something else.
Well, Fast and Furious 7 is certainly a good way to start that exploration. All right, folks, listen, that'll do it for us. That's all the time we have today. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, before you do anything else, take a second. Click the subscribe button. If you're not a subscriber already to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel, it'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news and, of course, our daily AMC Movie Talk Show and our weekend AMC Mailbag Show. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find links to our iTunes and our Stitcher Radio. And once again, head on over to www.amctheaters.com to get all your theater, movie time, and movie ticket information. I want to thank, as always, first our lovely host, Miss Erin Darling. Erin, where can people find you online?
Twitter, Erin A. Darling. Facebook, Erin Darling fan page. YouTube, Erin Ashley D. Thank you for having me, John.
Thank you for being had. And, of course, the one, the only, Mr. Dennis Z. Dennis, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter @ThinkHero. You can find me on Facebook, just my name.
And you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, just @John Capia. Thanks a lot for joining us, folks. Make sure you come back and join us again tomorrow. And until then, my name's John Capia for AMC Movie News. Bye-bye.